against fourth. It's a tremendous challenge for Salford to prove what they are all about in 2019.
They look a good side, they look good with the ball, look good defensively. They've scored an average of 24 points in the 4 games that they've played this year. They've got threats all over the field, and they're not just a team that like to sugar up the jumper. It's not all about completions with Salford. Ian Watson has given them licence to go out there, play what's in front of you. 2 halfbacks that like to go at the defensive line, and they will wear a tackle. Very robust sorts of halves. But I can't wait to see what the start's going to be like in this game. What's the intent like in the first couple of plays?
Well, here we go, and Luke Thompson, one of the form prop forwards at the early part of this season, and he has started the season really well, as indeed have the Saints. This 100% record of theirs, they were impressive last week, as was this fellow Alex Walmsley, 2 tries last week in a Man of the Match award.
Not bad, was it, from the big fellow last week? Scored a couple of tries, very powerful when they were carrying the ball.
Murray, number 20 on his back, he is the man who's been brought into the side at the very last minute here tonight, and I'm sure that he got as big a surprise as anyone when George Griffin pulled out. A high kick on the 5th and last tackle, well fielded at the back. That was a tremendous take.
He's an excellent returner of the ball, high levels, and John Wells and the lads in the studio all talking about his pass threat. But it's his run game that's needed tonight, along with Robert Louis and Jackson Hastings, taking on those big fellas in the middle. And I was thinking about it on the way to the game, having watched last week's match from St Helens, what an influence the 2 front rowers, Thompson and Walmsley, had on it. How would I cope with it? Well, I'd get up quick, and Gil Dudson, Lee Mossop have to make this game personal. They do run from deep, the St Helens front rowers, and it's up to them to stop that momentum.
This is Jansen Turgut winning in the programme tonight, this match. And Jansen Turgut played for Turkey in the emerging nations. His father is Turkish, and he has played international level for Turkey. Formerly, of course, Jansen Turgut from Hull at the end of last season.
Good play, wasn't it, from Lussick, that coming out, stepping out from the right-hand side of the play, the ball, spots some space, splits the Saints defenders, Ian Watson, Martin Gleeson, just talking through the game plan. Both of those players played at the highest level, doing a decent job here, aren't they?
Well, in the build-up to this game, John Wilkins spoke about the things that Salford would need to do to stand a chance and win this match. For me, they have to take the chances. Last week against Hull KR, they had 2 opportunities to score a try in the first 25 minutes and scored twice. They were clinical and they were deadly with the opportunities. They've got to be patient here tonight, but if an opportunity presents itself, they have to convert it into points.
This is Dominique Peyrou, who is wrestled to the ground by Jackson Hastings and company. Morgan Knowles gets the ball away there to Walmsley. There is the St Helens coach, Sean Long, alongside him. This now is Johnny Lomax. Drops the ball off to Zeb Teya. Teya just inside his own half of the field. We'll play the ball here to Roby. It's Morgan Knowles. Drives it hard and straight into the chest of Gil Dudson. Signed from Widnes, as I say, at the end of last year. Good news today that it looks like Widnes are going to survive. They're coming out of administration, we hope, in the next 24 hours. One of the great old names of the game, of course, the Vikings in Super League this time last year.
Yeah, great news for that club and the community, who really rallied round together to make sure that that club's playing this year in 2019.
They have this 12-point deduction, though, Terry. Do you think they'll be able to survive in the Championship?
I think they will. I think they will be, Eddie. They've already picked up 2 wins. They've only been beaten by Toronto. They've had a game postponed. And if the game gets the go-ahead on Sunday, that's going to be an amazing atmosphere down at the stadium.
Lee Mossop will get to his feet here, meanwhile, at the A.J. Bell Stadium. Jackson Hastings gets the ball away. Quick hands, but too quick. St Junior Sow had to retreat then and drop on the loose ball. And back they come again with Josh Jones, former St Helens second rower, of course. Deep kick, high kick, but safely underneath it is the St Helens fullback, Lachlan Coote.
He's been a great signing, hasn't he? A lot of balance and vision at the back. Really has just fitted into this team seamlessly. A lot of work been done on this man. Look how quick he gets up. He's trying to get up, play the ball quickly. Salford have done an awful lot of work on the back three. For Saints, Mark Percival, another one just skipping across the line, looking for a weakness in that defensive line.
Hastings and Junior Sau doing well, closing him down. Costello was the dummy half for the Saints. He got that ball away quickly to Morgan Knowles, but 3 there in the tackle, as you see, to bring him down. Now they go into centre field with Farge. That look forward to Thompson. Is allowed to play on, though, Luke Thompson. Thompson is dragged down on tackle number 5, Roby. Roby gives it to Lomax. Lomax then gets it away. Here's Lachlan Coote again. That's good defence from Wellham and company.
That's tremendous recovery there for Salford. When Thompson went through, went down the middle, they had the numbers. It's a nice pass there from Farge. He bounces away from Turgott. And Salford side recover enough there to survive on their own line.
It's a nice pass, but it was a bit forward, Phil.
He's got to make that tackle, Jansen Turgott. He got shoulder contact, managed to grasp and grip the player. I know he runs strong. He's got to make those one-on-ones, as have all the Salford players.
Well, the Salford early season form really is facing the acid test here tonight. They have an awful record against Saints in Super League, winning just 6 of 44 encounters. And do you know, they have yet to win an away meeting with St Helens in Super League. We've had a couple of successes here recently, though. Junior Sau somehow on this greasy surface stays the right side of the white line on this near side. Here now is Hastings again. That ball ricochets and then bounces into touch. And this will be a decision for Ben Thaler, who gives head and feet to Salford.
Well, good kick pressure on Jackson Hastings. He is a runner, he's a kicker of the ball, he's the one who stands back and directs his troops.
So the rules there are that St Helens have gone, they've charged down the kick. It was intentional, although obviously he's charged the kick, it's bounced off a Saints player.
Yeah, touch judge on the side has called that one. He saw him moving towards the ball and jumping towards the ball, and that's why Salford has got head and feet.
Jackson Hastings with the kick and on the ball here now. He showed commendable loyalty to this club. He helped them to survive, and then he decided to put pen to paper. He said he owes Salford because they gave him a chance here in the Super League.
I think he's done a really good job in the community, not just on the pitch, but he's valuable off the pitch as well, what he does with some of the youngsters, and really helps out the team and spreads the name of Salford.
Well, he has to be a chance to win the Steve Prescott Man of the Year at the end of the season. If he is to do that, he with a nice pass there to Jones, who started the season well, then Jackson Hastings has to be the best player on the field here tonight, Eddie, if he intends on being the best player in this competition in 2019.
There's Joey Lussick down the short side, gives it to Junior Sau. Makinson doing well, muscling up in defence. Lussick again into centre field. He pulls all the strings, does Jackson Hastings. We saw him do that towards the back end of the season. That ball is flicked back. Here's a chance for Turgott. And Turgott, well, Daniel Murray was celebrating a try, but Ben Thaler says he's held up.
Well, good defence.
And he was just short of the line.
Yeah, good defence from Saints. Robert Louis doing a decent job to get up, tap the ball back to Turgott, who's trying to power over the line with 4 defenders around him. So good attitude in defence from this Saints side, but good attacking play as well from Salford.
Well, they've had a dream start to the season. Salford tipped by many to battle against relegation with the London Broncos. Of course, newly promoted this year and finding it tough, although they did beat Wakefield in their opening match down in the capital at the very start of the season. Coming up to 8 minutes on the clock, and still 0-0 here, but Walmsley will cart the ball forward again for Saints.
And that's one of those carries that he runs from deep, much like Thompson. They have to get up quick on him, Salford.
This is Lomax. Again, left-footed kick goes high into the air. What's going to happen here? Makinson claims it, and then Sau claims him, but that's a great offload to Peru, who in turn finds Farge off the outside of the boot. He slips it down the other end of the field, and Daryl Alfords now will run this ball back to the Salford Red Devils.
Well, the quality of kicking between these two teams might be the thing that helps Salford to compete in this game. If you look at the kicks that Jackson Hastings has put in, they've been far superior to the ones from the St Helens side. It's one of the reasons why people rate him so highly.
Gil Dudson now for Salford again. I say, in the opening 9 minutes or so, they've given a fairly good account of themselves, the Red Devils.
Well, they're certainly going forward, like Gil Dudson, like Lee Mossop as well. And then on the back of that, you've got Jackson Hastings. Like I said before, he's one of those players who not many halfbacks are willing to go to the line, take on the defence, but he's certainly one of those players.
Now then, Eccles over to Sloppy pass. Alford's, though, is judged to have knocked that ball backwards, so it's play on. And a kick down the line. This will skip away on the wet surface, runs dead.
That kick for Salford, I think it's Chris Wellham who puts that kick in. To our stats, that's the 5th time they've had the ball. It's an incompleted set. Before that, they'd had sets of 6, they'd got a kick in, completed a set, and Ian Watson referenced that. He said, we've got to keep hold of the ball, we've got to use possession, try and get some field position, and test St Helens' defence.
Here comes Thompson again. A little bit more disruption for the Red Devils. There is number 16, Greg Burke. You saw him come onto the field for Lee Mossop. I did say that Mossop had been doubtful with an injury all week. Came through a training session yesterday. Ian Watson said he would play. Well, it lasted about 7 minutes. And this is Costello. 3 appearances for Lee this year, Matty Costello. Knowles gets the ball away to Lomax. Lomax spins it wide to the left-hand side to Percival. He gets through the would-be challenge of Welland, but Jansen Turgott is there. And he goes down. Zeptea down the short side. Lachlan Coote stabs the ball through. Well swept up again at the back. Read that perfectly, did Niall Evolds, and Daryl Alfords with a little fumble.
Well, both sides going down that short side, down the. Whether they've got 5 metres, 10 metres to play with, they're certainly doing it. They're certainly chancing around. And Alford's nearly come up with a mistake then near his own try line.
This is a good defensive set by St Helens.
Again, Jackson Hastings, the reason why he runs that ball, he looks outside him. No one's pushing up and the defence is up that quick.
It's a solid run from Ken Seo, much expected from him this year at Salford. And now Robert Louis has to hump the ball downfield to clear the lines. Underneath it, Lachlan Coote. Back come the Saints. You're right, Barry, a great defensive set that from St Helens. Can they make hay now?
Well, that's the reward. They get to catch the ball on the full. They're just about to approach the halfway line. Good work from St Helens. They'll look to combine good attack, good defence, and stay in that grind.
Lomax, short pass. Thompson again. Try last week against Leeds, and he made it to the World 13 in 2018. Thompson.
Turgott.
It's a bruiser, this. Lomax, short pass. Tear again. That's a good defensive set from Salford, to be fair.
And that's a good shot from Jansen Turgott. Left shoulder.
Lachlan Coote now with a kick to the right-hand side, looking for the height of Tommy Makinson. It bounces off. It's stabbed forward. Chances here for the first try. Peyru thinks he's scored it, and the referee, I think, might just be. I'm going to have a word with the touch judge. He might just hand this upstairs to referee in the video room, Robert Hicks.
Time is off. 5th tackle, Robert.
Yes, he is.
We have a try.
Oh, and they've got a try on the field.
Making sure there's no knock on.
Nice high kick, wasn't it, from St Helens? There was a contest. And even though...
Well, they must have got a hand to it here by the looks of things.
I felt certain that one of the St Helens players got a hand to it. And I felt
all the players
it went forward.
All the players not in the shot, are they, on that angle?
But they're happy with the onside, offside, I think, from that.
My first instinct was a St Helens player knocked it on when there was a collision in the air. Let's have a look. Is it Tommy Makinson? Does his right arm touch it? But if it does it go
goes
backwards?
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's Ken Seo who's knocked it on. There you go. If it was touched by Makinson, it goes backwards anyway.
Yeah,
it's good awareness here from Dominic Peyru, isn't it?
Look at him, he's coming up now right behind Junior Sau.
He's the first person to react, isn't he?
And he stabs it forward. Not deciding yet, not 100% who's knocked at first. Whatever happens though, Stuart, it's gone backwards anyway, hasn't it, Saints?
It has. I just think he's trying to clear who the ball's off. But the ball certainly went back off. If it did hit Percival, it's gone backwards, so it should be play on from here.
So there's the kick through from Peyru. Now then, this is the telling shot. This will tell us.
He's missed it.
Missed it.
He's missed it, and then I think it's kicked out the field of play. Look at this now. Tries everything, Dominic Peyru.
Is there a push and a shove? Is it a penalty against Peyru? Is it a penalty against Hastings? There's pushing and shoving either way. It's not going to be given. that's for sure.
Well, I think it looks like Peyro's actually pulled him back, stopping Hastings getting towards the ball. There's certainly been no try, and I think the restart will be a penalty to Salford.
And that's the opinion of the referee as well. There's a pull back. You'll see it here clearly now, although someone will say, well, Peyro was tackled without the ball anyway. But there's the push and the shove on Hastings.
When he dabs that through, he probably realises that he can't get there. Jackson Hastings clearly obstructed. Justin Holbrook knows that an opportunity's gone begging.
It was only a half chance though, wasn't it, if that?
Well, I think the Salford side have really matched the energy from the Saints, and they knew they had to do that.
And you're right, Terry, that's a very good point. A lot of teams can't live with the Saints in that opening 10-minute period. The power and pace with which they play. Wormsley and Thompson, Roby, fast play the balls, fast runs, good meters. Salford have done well here. They lost a player in the warm-up. They've lost another player in the opening 10 minutes. And yet here they've got their own supporters up on the feet, cheering their hearts out.
It's Hastings into centre field with Louis. Louis looks for the runner, it's Turgott. Good tackle by Johnny Lomax. Now Robert Louis drops the ball off again to Daniel Murray. Came here thinking he was a spectator tonight and then just got thrown in at the last minute. Hastings again, gets it away to Junior Sal. Costello got to him, and that's the turnover.
They're choosing to run the ball on the last play instead of just dabbing it behind the defensive line. Take the chances. They'll go from one side of the pitch to the other. They do play a structured game, but I do like the looks of Salford when they do look up in front of them, play what's there, and in the likes of Robert Louis, Jackson Hastings, they've certainly got teams that can break down those defences.
Wormsley go down. We will be at the new look Headingley Stadium tomorrow. We will see Leeds in their homecoming. They've had a torrid start to the season, 4 away games and against some very good opposition. They play Wakefield tomorrow in front of the newly opened South Stand. And then on Saturday we'll see the Catalan Dragons against the Warrington Wolves, 5 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena for that. This is Percival, he's not tackled, now he is.
Good speed, nice and direct from Saints. Johnny Lomax at the heart of everything then.
Lachlan Coote dabs the ball over the top. But it runs too long, touch in goal.
It's not a great kick by St Helens, but it's such an advantage to have a left-footed kicker. Lachlan Coote in the full-back role can float between the right and the left, but that left-footed boot of his advantage in the modern game.
Brian Canny was talking before the game with John Wells and John Wilkin about the fact that Saints don't really have a recognised goal kicker or somebody who seems comfortable taking the goal kicks. I'm not sure they've got a recognised field kicker either, really. Lachlan Coote's tried it so far in the games he's played for them, but without tremendous success. That one there again, John, over their ball line.
And the big debate was, would it be Mark Percival or Lachlan Coote who took the conversions or the penalty kicks if and when they come along? It was Lachlan Coote who was practising everything off the kicking tee pre-match. That's a nice little ball, it was intelligent. Eval's just lost it though.
Well, it's all about speed, Eddie. It's how quick you go with that defensive line that pulls the defender out and puts him in an uncomfortable position. Knowing that you've got a little tag ball on the inside, you're just looking to make that defender uncomfortable and then open up the space.
OK, let's go down to the sideline. We've already talked about the disruption because of injuries to Salford. What's the story?
I don't know if it's the weather or the conditions, Eddie, but that's 2 hamstring tweaks in the space of 20 minutes, really. George Griffin, we heard, went off even before he came on, really. It's in the warm-up where he did his hamstring. Nothing too worrying there. But with Lee Mossop, he's still having his treatment in the changing room at the moment. They're not quite sure how much the hamstring tweak for him will cause him any disruption in the game, whether he'll come back on or not. But we'll wait and see. I'll let you know as soon as I can, Eddie.
Thanks, Ange. Well, yes, 2 hamstrings, that could be lengthy layoffs.
And the cold conditions won't help that as well. Lee Mossop integral to this Salford side. Somebody's going to have to step forward and take the team.
Well, this will help them.
Well, it's again, though, there's too many players doing this too often. Salford did it twice last week, okay? Intentionally playing the ball into a defender who's behind. He's not trying to stop play, he's wanting to get out of the way. It happened to Wigan. Look, he's trying to clear out of the way. And players are intended. People in rugby league used to laugh at people in football for diving to win penalties. Nowadays, there's too many players in rugby league cheating and winning penalties by intentionally playing the ball into a defender behind them.
Do you have a comment about that, Stuart?
Well, I would just say, I think from the referee's point of view, they don't want players to be in behind the ruck, so they'll give the penalty to the team in possession to try to get people not to lie in the back of the ruck.
There's the reason, Phil.
No, I'm not critical of the referees. I thought players and coaches were buying into the game, that we want to play to the rules and play properly.
Gil Dodson here for Salford.
We brought a shot clock in to stop cheating, Eddie.
Hastings gets the ball back to Evolds, takes the ball back off him. Here goes Greg Burke now down the middle. Good hit. Well, you take on Walmsley and Thompson at your peril, but Walmsley's come off the worst of that. Nice little stab through by Hastings, ricocheted into the arms of Lachlan Coote.
Kicked it into a St Helens defender. As we see Big Al taking a few deep breaths.
He's got a shiner on the left eye, now
He came into the game with that. He took a bit of abuse and took a bit of punishment last week against Leeds, but he'll do his job.
And I noticed Sam Tompkins in the studio last week had a nice black eye as well.
Tough rugby league players.
I thought you'd packed up, Barry.
It wasn't me, I wasn't responsible for it.
You said that to disciplinary committees many, many times. Here now is Lachlan Coote, pulled down by Jackson Hastings. I tell you what, 18 minutes gone, it's a good contest this so far. Theo Farge under pressure gets the kick away. This is hanging everywhere. Oh, brilliantly claimed by Percival. Mark Percival scores a peach. It hung everywhere, that ball. And Mark Percival just rose above them all. 6 tries in St Helens' last 6 visits to Salford. So check that stat now. It's 7 in the last 7 here at Salford for Mark Percival. He must love the AJ Bell Stadium, and he's given the Saints the lead.
Well, he is an absolute class act, Mark Percival. It's a lethal left edge for Saints. I'll have a little look at him. Look, he's just concentrating on catching that ball. He knew that he was going to be under some pressure when he comes down from Alfords. He just focuses on where this ball is. Look, Theo Farge under pressure from Hastings, drops the ball where he wants it. And there he is, the Saints centre waiting to pounce.
It's not been a perfect start for St Helens, but they've had to be patient. They've had to be methodical. And that kicking game, it's been a little bit awkward, should we say, in the opening. Just short of 20 minutes or so. It was absolutely spot on that occasion, and so was the kick chase.
Outstanding try from Mark Percival. I think I'm right in saying that's his first try of the season. Mark Percival. He's kicked 7 goals from 13 attempts, so he's not too happy with the goal kicking. So this man has taken over Lachlan Coote. He got a goal last week against Leeds. And he has a goal this week against Salford. The Saints are ahead by 6 points to 0.
Well, the best sportsmen and sportswomen have the best eye-hand coordination. And Mark Percival clearly demonstrates that here. To run at that speed, keep your eye on the ball, catch it whilst off the ground, and then bring it down to ground it. It's fantastic coordination, wonderful piece of skill at the highest level.
Mark Percival is a real talent.
10 metres, mate, makes me hold that 10.
Trying a 60-10 victory here that Saints recorded last April. Midway through this first half, Salford restart.
There's the
Louis
replacement forward.
McCarthy, Scarsbrook. Where's he playing tonight?
He's playing in the front row as far as I can see, or a middle as they term it these days, and his job will be run hard, run as fast as you can and gain as many metres. Certainly done that on his first carry.
But had a fantastic game last week, didn't he, in the centres, showing his versatility when Nagama had to go off. Concussed, that's why he's not here tonight. Lomax for Saints. So far, the 100% record remains intact. Salford have got just less than an hour to try and sort that out. Roby is in at dummy half. Here is Theo Farge again. Another high kick. This time CO is underneath it safely enough.
Look at that Saints line, knowing how dangerous CO is. Salford need to thrive on this pressure, knowing that Saints are going to challenge them now. Need to return the ball well, get through to the kick, try and find some space. They look at the 2 wingers for Saints, they look at the full-back for Saints, they drop back deep. Whether they can do anything different, That's up to Hastings and Louis.
This is Daryl Alfords who will play the ball. Chris Wellham, almost 300 career games now for Chris Wellham. The bulk of them, of course, with Hull Kingston Rovers, 191. Lussick will come the left-hand side. He'll find Hastings almost an interception, but it found its way to Sow. He gets away from the first would-be tackle, but Dominic Peyrou saw to it he was going no further. Here is Hastings again. High kick, what's the chase like? Well, it might have been A-OK, but Lomax was very safe. Louis was nowhere near it in the end.
Well taken well by Johnny Lomax. What about the quick play the ball from Junior Sow over on the left-hand side, which enabled Jackson Hastings to go at the line.
Makinson.
Too many metres that Eddie Lowe again, looking for that quick play the ball. Man at the wrong side of the road. Does it so many times, doesn't he, Tommy Makinson? You have a look how he injects himself into the line. He lands on his front. You've got a player behind him that's trying to slow him down, knowing that he's lost that tackle. Look at this now. All of a sudden, last 3 or 4 steps before contact, and then the timing's all wrong from the defenders.
And let's not forget, he's playing on the right wing. He's hunted for the ball. He's looked for work. I was listening to Lee Mossop before the game. He said, Saints at some point will go in front. It's important that we keep with them. Stay in the fight.
Roby, dummy half. McCarthy Scarsbrook again. He is arguably the most excitable, enthusiastic player in the Super League right now. Lives and breathes every minute of it.
I think his enthusiasm is infectious, Eddie.
Thompson. Great start to the season, this St Helens front row of Walmsley, Roby and Thompson.
It's good defence from Salford.
It is.
Saw some short passes, saw some action, got in quick and shut it down.
Roby to Farge. Farge then a flat pass to Morgan Knowles. Suddenly the post pad's come into shot, so that's how close the Saints are on this, the last tackle, just a few metres away. It's now with Farge. Here is Lomax. Lomax tries to duck under the challenge of Lussick. He does, but Junior Sow was there in reserve.
Great defence. Certainly aimed up, haven't they, in this game. Defending your try line like that, you've got so many danger men that you're looking at. Lachlan Coote, Johnny Lomax, Theo Farge, James Roby. Who's going to get the ball? Who's going to cause some damage?
I feel certain they've prepped for this during the week. We won't go behind. It's important we don't capitulate. If and when things go wrong, we go back to the game plan. And that's what they're doing here. They're shifting the ball. That tackle too, shifting the ball, looking to pass, looking to play, looking to get outside.
There's another one of Phil's favourite penalties.
Well, I'll just try and make a point, Eddie, again, if I make it clearer. We brought a shot clock in because players were cheating to fake injuries and buy time in that situation. We've now got players intentionally playing the ball. I've watched every game last weekend. It happened several times, and I think that the players and the coaches need to have a chat to themselves.
You could flip that on the other side and say, well, the defender's got to be better, got to be stronger, he's got to land in front of him.
There are times where
saying,
he will end up behind the play of the ball. The game could continue if the player just played the ball and the action halfback picked it up. They intentionally roll it back harder than any other occasion into the player behind them just to win or force a penalty from the referee.
It's a good argument. And on the evidence of what we've seen thus far tonight, it's an argument that stands up to the test.
He looks strong this year, Jansen Turgid. Come across to Salford, looks a couple of kgs heavier, a bit more aggressive.
Good hands, Josh Jones looking to offload that ball, but it was scrambling St Helens defence that brought him down. Hastings, Louis, Sow. Last tackle coming up here for Salford. There they are, that's how close. And that flicked off Thompson and Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook. They didn't hear the call from the referee. The tackle was completed by Hastings and he said play the ball. Maybe Louis thought he said play on.
Well, let's see what the defence is like from Salford here. The kick ricochets off Luke Thompson, goes to ground. Yeah, there's hands on him. Tackle's complete.
This is Matty Costello. Been out at Lee, as I say, on loan. He sat out last week's match against Toronto.
Time off. Come here.
And the referee wants to work with Tyrone McCarthy, who's not been on the field long.
Out of his face. Same with you. Don't put your hand anywhere near his face.
Yeah, last 2 carries from Tommy Makinson. He's earned his side a penalty. You can see, look, fighting to get up, play the ball. The hands in there from
They both did it. It's twice. Jones first, then McCarthy.
Why would you do that? Seriously,
Frustration, Eddie. That's why.
This is Luke Thompson. I'm reminded that Sam Tompkins got a bit of a ticking off for that last week for the Catalan Dragons at Wakefield. So maybe that's something else they should be looking at, Phil.
Well, that's just a penalty, isn't it? The referees penalise it correctly. That's play. I mean, the game could continue if players just do that. Since they've lost the ball here now, and Salford go back. I think as the longer the game goes here, Salford are building. It was clear, isn't it, in the 25, 26 minutes we've had. Saints are brilliant at making ground. But Salford's class and skill, 2 of the tries they scored last week were as good as any rugby try you'll see, both by the left winger and the right winger. They've got skill if they get into the right position, and with the halfbacks they've got the ability to demonstrate and really stretch their opponents defensively.
Burke again, he gets it to Louis. Little skip away by Turgott. Lussick to McCarthy. McCarthy tackled by McCarthy Scarsbrook. Lussick again, off the floor. Louis, high kick. Bit too deep though, easy for Lachlan Coote. Beat all his own runners. He wouldn't be happy with that.
No, I'll be really disappointed with that. Just gives them 20 metres up the field. They had to drop it just before the try line. They are getting through the set, Salford. They do look decent. Everything's been dictated by the halves in Louis and Hastings. But look again, this is a quick play ball. 2 men again caught on the wrong side. They're all about speed for Saints.
It's a solid run from Roby. This is Lomax now. Beaten about 3 players there with his footwork. And now beaten about 4.
I saw a Salford player just when James Roby picked up, scooted off. There was a head clash, and I think the referee's seen that now.
Greg Burke, isn't it?
Greg Burke. James Roby is a master at deciding when to run, when not to run. Knocking by wide, he goes down low and catches Greg Burke. A head clash there.
Might be more problems here for Salford and Greg Burke. He's got a cut or something above the eye. I think he's going to have to be assessed here. This is further disruption for the Salford Red Devils.
Ian Watson will be thinking, I'm running out of troops.
Exactly. Greg Burke 5th in a row off the bench. He joined another one. He joined from Widnes last June. 3 starts, that's all at Widnes. And well, he's been on early here today because the Mossop went off.
I think Gil Gibson will go back on.
Might be the end of Greg Burke tonight.
Nasty head clash caused by the recognition of James Roby to get out. And they really are running low.
Well, his interchange options are limited with 8 changes anyway, but now he's got 2 who might not come back on tonight.
He'll be back on the field, Greg Burke.
Unless he fails his
he looks okay. He looks okay. He'll be taped up. He'll be back on the field.
GP in private health, Terry O'Connor. This is Morgan Knowles.
He's another player that stepped up, hasn't he? Taken up over the mantle from John Wilkin.
Tremendous, tremendous. That's a little step through by Theo Fage. And nicely watched all the way by the big fella just back on the field.
They did well. They did well again. There was a ricochet, taking it through the line. Theo Fage under pressure from Tyrone McCarthy. They're having to work away from their own line. It is a good contest, this. Arm wrestle.
I just fear for Salford now if Burke doesn't come back, although Dr. O'Connor says he will. If he doesn't come back, what Ian Watson's options are off the bench. They've lost Lee Mossop.
Well, they'll be restricted, won't they? And players will have to do longer minutes in the middle of the field. Will they be able to handle that? They'll be hoping and praying that man, Greg Burke, can get back on the field. I said earlier, Eddie, that they were really good last week. 3 tries in the 13-minute spell in the second half.
Dewsbury against Toronto is on Sunday. Another look at Toronto this year. The Betfred Championship, 3 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena. Entertaining stuff. Wolfpack. So far beaten everything in front of them, just like St Helens have here in the Betfred Super League. This is Roby. Knowles in centre field. Lomax wide to the runner, that's Coote. Further wide to the try scorer, Percival. That flicked off a Salford knee or thigh. I wonder what the decision's going to be here. Head and feet Saints.
Eddie, this was really good defence from Salford. They had to account for all the dummy runners from Saints at the line. They were attacking at great depth. And Justin Holbrook throwing everything at this Salford side. But they're certainly standing up to the challenges.
They'll have to defend strong here. I thought they were a little bit unlucky there. Darrell Olfet's probably doing his job, going about his business. The ball ricocheted, went over the sideline, but they've got another set of 6 to defend the Red Devils now.
And they're aiming for a 10th consecutive away win in Super League are the Saints. And lost one on the road last year. It was at Wakefield. They've already avenged that this year. It was their best ever away season in Super League 2018. Of course, when the big stuff came around, sadly for them, they fell just short. But everybody's pre-season tip to get to the grand final in 2019, Saints, and leading here 6 points to 0. In possession with Farge. Back it comes to Lomax, and Lomax gets over the line. Salford's coach Ian Watson won't be happy with that defence on the far side, but Lomax, with all the strength in the world. He had 2 tries disallowed by the video referee last week, but he still managed his 90th career try. There's career try number 91 for Johnny Lomax. And it's 3 and 4 for him this season now, in great form.
All the action over on that left side. Mark Percival with a right-footed kick. And Darrell Olfet's and Salford Red Devils probably could count themselves a little unlucky. But there's nothing good luck or bad luck. This is just precision from St Helens. All the right bodies in the right places. Too many attackers and defenders unsure, unclear on who's going to get the ball. And Johnny Lomax with a sweeping play. He dabs the ball down for the second St Helens try.
Well, Chris Wellham, I don't think defence has ever been the strongest part of his game, and he shoots up there into the line that causes a problem. They've done really well to defend that left side for St Helens, but as Wellham comes up there, and I'm sure John Wells will show this at half-time, half an hour of fatigue certainly starts to make you make the wrong decisions that you have to do out wide, and he set off in the line that was never really his part of the field or the players they had to cover. 10-0. And a difficult kick now for Lachlan Coote.
And just the wrong side of the posts. 10-0, 7 minutes to half-time.
Well, Johnny Lomax, look at this ball here from 305. Lets the ball do all the hard work. He's sweeping line, gets outside of Wellham, and then Louis just can't handle him. They've had a good partnership, both of those players, haven't they? He made the decision to leave Richardson out, put Theo Fies in, Johnny Lomax.
But he can't argue with the results. Danny Richardson was the star of the show last year for St Helens, but currently on loan at the Championship club Lee, where he's doing okay there.
Competition for places, Eddie, brings out the best in you.
And Lee and Saints have now got a link, haven't they, between each
dual
other?
reg.
Dual registration.
They send the players there so they get the game time and they get challenged in that championship.
I wonder if he'll get a chance again this year at St Helens. I'm sure injuries might play a part in that.
I'm sure he will, and when he comes back he'll be a determined player, won't he?
Morgan Knowles, how about that for a run? Roby. Another scampering run from him. Lomax, latest try scorer to the left-hand side. Coote. This is everywhere. This is high. This is hanging. Well claimed. He takes control of it, doesn't he, Niall Eccles? And he, of course, he got his chance when Gareth O'Brien moved to Toronto. Got him back in his preferred position. He's a solid player at fullback with Niall Eccles.
Speaking of solid, what about that tackle from Morgan Knowles? He does have plenty of heart, and again that tackle on Gil Dudson's inspired his teammates, but that is a strong carry. When one of your teammates gets hit like this, well, it's a head rocker, both of them stop and collide, and all of a sudden it really does rev your teammates up.
Josh Jones is wrestled to the ground. Hastings stabs the ball along the floor and will find touch.
Well, knowing that there's just less than 5 minutes to go before half-time, Jackson Hastings wants to get the ball off the field, just take some time, just regroup, get the right end of the field. You'd rather be 10 metres from your opponent's line than 10 metres from your own line. And he knows exactly how to rally his troops, what he wants from his team. Constantly chatting in the days.
Jackson Hastings played for the Roosters in the NRL. He won the World Club Challenge against St Helens for them in 2016. Roosters, the reigning World Club Challenge champions after their victory against Wigan the other week.
Isn't it nice listening to Jackson Hastings before the game, paying tribute to the club that showed him loyalty, decided to stay at the Red Devils.
Commendable, Barry, commendable.
Yeah, we don't hear and see a lot of that in the modern game of rugby league. He's decided to stay with Salford Red Devils, and as Terry O'Connor's already said, he does a lot of work in the community. Good influence on his teammates and his club.
I think that match, by the way, I was referring to for the Roosters against Saints in 2016 was a World Club Series game, wasn't it? In the days when we had two or three matches in the series. With a high kick from Farge. Pouched nicely by Evalds, but the wall of blue jerseys is there.
Even on that play from Salford when they were defending, then as a coach Ian Watson will be looking at what his team are doing on the last play. And Gil Dudson got off the line and tried to put pressure on the man who was kicking the ball. So he'll know that they're still asking those questions, they're still getting into Saints' eye line, and they're still trying to pressure them into making mistakes.
That's good work from Salford. We go inside pass and a solid shot. Very vulnerable teams before half-time. It's 10-0 against them on the scoreboard. What they can't do, Salford, is look to the changing rooms, to the sideline, and think we'll just get to half-time. They've got to continue to focus and concentrate.
Rutland, the dummy half, last tackle here. They're running it. Alfords with the chip down the line. Policed all the way by Lachlan Coote.
Well, it's a numbers game, isn't it? When you've got the ball, you're looking at how many attackers you've got on one side and how many defenders they've got. If you think you've got them, just have a crack at it.
Regan Grace will play it here to Roby. Walmsley will cart the ball forward.
It's all right saying you've got to try and stop him in motion, but he's very difficult, isn't he?
He is. I saw him close up and personal last week as he came off the field. Gee, he's a big fella.
I'd love to see you standing in front of him, Eddie, trying to tackle him.
Oh, well, I stood in front of him, but it's
Scared to death.
This is Louis McCarthy, Scarsbrook. Saints now reach tackle number 5.
You'd stop him, Eddie. Put your mind to it.
Trip him up. Oops, off the head, bounces back, and I think he's just signalled 6 to go. They'll bring it back for the first knock on, won't they?
It was a great play, though, was it? I think it was Matthew Costello, the right centre for Saints, who gets up and challenges this kick as it comes down. He's going to check it again, the referee.
Yeah, 10 feet to the Saints. It was a knock on originally.
But he puts Evalds under pressure, doesn't he? I thought it was a right hand from Costello. It's gone that way. Peru gets it, but then eventually lose it, so...
Off the top of the shoulder, Stuart, do you think?
Well, it's difficult to see, isn't it? Referee's square onto it. It just gets a hand before it gets to the head, but it was very simultaneous.
And I think they might feel a little bit hard done by there, Salford. Looked as though the hand of the Saints player pushed it into the head of Evalds. Anyway, Saints will not be complaining. Salford might if they get in here.
Good read. Good read from Alfords there to close that play down.
Hasn't he done well to make the big step from League One, Daryl Alfords?
He's been very good. I think he's strong when he carries the ball. John Wilkin was talking about him. How good both of the Salford wingers are.
Roby, he's excited because he knows they're very close to the line. He's going for it himself. Roby, he's touchdown. James Roby. Well, again, a debatable try that goes to James Roby. They got a little bit of luck with a similar situation to that last week against Leeds when a decision went against the Rhinos underneath the Saints post. They went up and won the game. Here, James Roby, right on the stroke of half-time. He's darted over from dummy half, a typical hooker's try, and the Saints lead by 14 points to 0.
Well, you have to play the game, don't you? And you have to ride your luck. Saints get the ball in decent field position. Salford have got to defend the line. And whenever that man is behind the play the ball, James Roby, he is a constant threat. He's got Morgan Knowles on one side, he dummies the ball on one side, and then he goes to the left. He certainly is a player that attracts an awful lot of attention, but even when you think you've got him, he still manages to get that ball down.
There hasn't been a more consistent player in the last 20 years of rugby league in this country than James Roby. Every week he's between an 8 and a 9 out of 10 with his performances. And his concentration, his fitness level there, even as we approach the half-time hooter, strong enough to see the gap and go for it.
Lachlan Coote out to the extra. St Helens have built a 16-point lead. You're absolutely right, Phil. The 2017 Man of Steel, James Roby, leads the voting panel in 2019. And that try has just increased the pressure. 2007 he was the Man of Steel, I beg your pardon. That's 12 years ago. And every year, James Roby knocks on the door of being Man of Steel. He's leading the hunt this year, and this try just before half-time has proved exactly why. Saints are 16 up at the break. The 100% record looks like it might be intact. It's gone back to Richardson. Richardson with the drop goal. He's kicked it!
Ahora vamos a darle la bienvenida a Kevin de Macclesfield, quien estuvo de fiesta anoche y acaba de poner una apuesta en el partido de la Copa, aquí en Panamá. ¿Por qué?
¿Te gustaron los nombres?
O por el color de las camisetas.
¿O apostaste un poco, Evan?
Kevin.
Shih Tzu.
Cockapoo.
Bloodhound.
Collie.
Border Collie.
You know your poodle from your spaniel.
Poodle.
But do you know what you can do with your pension pot? PensionWise offers free, impartial guidance over the phone or face-to-face. To book an appointment, call 0800 138 1888 and we'll give you some
Pointers.
Are plastic bags better for the ocean than paper ones? Does social media help or harm democracy? Did the beginning of life on Earth depend on the moon? Would a world without employment work? Shouldn't we all ask why the world is the way it is? Why not try The Economist for free? Text questions to 78070 now. The A-Class range with Mercedes Me. Search for your next car today.
I know who I am and what I'm here to do. You have no clue what I'm capable of. You will soon find out.
Whoa, I'm fine. I'm cool.
Now's the time to leap into the ultimate hand-picked collection of leading ladies. Sky Cinema Wonder Women, available now.
Who will finish on a high as the Windies host England in T20 action? Find out live on Sky Sports Cricket.
Golden perhaps weave a little bit of magic.
Ten games to go in the race for the Premier League title. We've got 4 matches for you on Sky Sports Premier League. Saturday sees West Ham take on Newcastle, 5 p.m. start for that, and 3 on Super Sunday. Watford-Leicester starts it all off at 11:30 a.m.
Claudio Ranieri sacked by Fulham. Scott Parker in charge until the end of the season. They take on Chelsea 2 p.m. on Sky Sports Premier League, and the Merseyside derby finishes off the day as Everton host Liverpool, title chasing Liverpool, 4 p.m. for that. We're at the AJ Bell Stadium in Salford. Half-time scoreline reads 16-0 in favour of the visitors. St Helens, 3 first-half tries. Lachlan Coote successful with 2 of his conversion attempts. Let's have a look at the half-time stats, and a preponderance of possession for St Helens, and it was close to the Salford line as well. 55% place, 45%. More tackles made, nearly 30 more made by the home side, and you would then suggest that accounts for 14 missed tackles, Saints with just 3. Meters made, almost 300 more for the visitors. All right, okay. John Wilkin joined us pre-game. He predicted a St Helens victory. It's 16-0 at half-time. They've had more possession, they've had more field position, but on the scoreline, it's just got comfortable with that late James Roby try. Why?
Yeah, it was really, I think, really competitive in the opening exchanges. I think St Helens were just getting to grips with their last plays. I think Justin Holbrook will be maybe disappointed with some of their last plays, their kicks. Salford competed hard. I thought they challenged St Helens with some different pieces of play. Jackson Hastings challenging this St Helens side with kicks in the air, ultimately leading to nearly a try there for Salford and being held up.
Video referee intervened to rule out a try that St Helens thought they had scored as well early in the game.
Yeah, I thought, look, I didn't think this was a try at any stage.
Referees, he waved a try on the field, and he's in a brilliant position. I don't know what he's seen.
I just can't believe that was given a try on the field, but Dom Peru challenging hard and Jackson Hastings competing hard too. Theo Fage here. It was 18 minutes, I think, the first good kick, I thought, from St Helens, and Mark Percival just timing his jump perfectly. Daryl Alfords didn't get off the ground. Percival timed it and executed very well.
Okay, right edge defence here in all sorts of trouble. This goes off Daryl Alfords. It's given to St Helens. It's questionable as well. Salford will complain about this. Talk to me about Robert Louis' defence on Johnny Lomax's step back.
I think it was Chris Wellham. Chris Wellham was aggressive. Johnny Lomax and Theo Fage combined, great pass, and Johnny Lomax faded to his outside.
St Helens had a bit of luck against Leeds. Surely Matty Costello would knock on.
Look, Matt Costello touched that, and I think Saints have been fortunate there. But what you don't want to do is give St Helens time near your try line. James Roby's a master of picking off a defender. He saw Niall Evalds in the defensive line, showed one way, went back and scored the points. But an element of luck in some of what St Helens have did. But look, they've missed 3 tackles, all in the first half. They've ran for 900 metres. They've been the better side. The Salford did really well, I thought, in that opening 15-20 minutes and looked a threat at times.
They've had a little bit of adversity as well. They lost George Griffin in the warm-up. Lee Mossop, who we talked about in the build-up as well, we gave him a big build-up because he was going up against Walmsley and Thompson. He pulls out after about 8 minutes of the game. So they're shorn of 2 guys that they thought would be in their starting lineup.
Yeah, and it's been an attritional game in the middle of the field. Funnily enough, we thought Walmsley and Thompson would be grabbing the headlines, but for me, Tommy Makinson and Mark Percival have been exceptional in carrying the ball for St Helens. Percival in particular has landed on his front, played the ball quickly, but it's been a tough game for Salford in the middle. A few guys off, and they're struggling for troops at the moment.
OK, let's get the thoughts of John Wells on that first 40 minutes. Another man who predicted a Saints victory. What have you made of that so far, John?
I agree with much of what John Wilkins said. Salford, I thought they competed exceptionally well for the opening 20 minutes. They'll probably be a little disappointed that the scoreline reads as it does at half-time, and we'll point to a couple of lax defensive errors, particularly with James Roby so close to the try line. They know how dangerous he is from there. I'm going to take you to Percival's try on the 18th minute, and take you back 2 plays. We'll pick up the action 2 plays in advance. They go to the short side, and it's a something and nothing play. Theo Fage goes under and actually ends up being dominant in the tackle because he slips. But what I like about this is the reaction from the Saints players. Salford now on the retreat. There is going to be no line speed on that short side, and there's 2 players. Roby who's about to get into dummy half, and Lachlan Coote will make a move to the short side to take advantage of this. This is an example of players working on the run. They get easy meters off the back of that, absolutely no line speed whatsoever. And then you've got a man here as we start a clock, which is to illustrate one thing. Theo Fage has got time now. He's not going to get any pressure coming from any of these players here at all. There's going to be nothing from any of these players. Why? Because they're all retreating. They've beaten them for speed again at the ruck. There's nobody there that's going to apply any pressure. The only pressure that they're going to get is going to come from the marker defence. So you look at, by the time that Theo Farge is able to assess and execute, nearly 5.5 seconds have elapsed. Now the fun bit. Percival is exemplary with this skill. He's tall, he's rangy, and at full speed, this is something that was picked up in commentary. This is a very, very difficult skill to execute properly, to time your run, to time your jump, to meet the ball at the crest of your jump and really make it difficult for your defender. There is a question mark perhaps on Chris Whelham's efforts to escort Percival away from the ball. These the dark arts of the outside backs. Barry McDermott often refers to the dark arts in the scrum. These those little clever things that you would do with the running lines that you make back here to make it difficult for Percival to get a clean run. But just look how much time they've had to execute that. The only pressure is coming from Hastings, and then an exceptional jump from Percival and open the scoring for Salford. We'll make a brief mention in dispatches for Tommy Makins, one of the players that John Wilkin just alluded to there. 12 carries in that opening 40 minutes, a heap of meters, a heap of quick play the balls, very disruptive of that marker area, which is setting up an awful lot of good play, front foot play for St Helens off the back of that. 2 penalties earned as well. Very industrious and productive first 40 minutes for him.
All right, thanks very much, John. We're going to go to the break shortly. I want to just get your opinion on Gil Dudson, what appeared to be an elbow to Morgan Knowles. I cast my mind back to Liam Watts getting red carded for doing the same to Michael McAlorm.
Well, the first thing I'd say is Morgan Knowles has gone to initiate a big contact, and he does. That's what he's known for. Gil Dudson, I think, defensively raises his elbow. Now, what we're trying to say is that intentional? Has he tried to elbow Morgan Knowles? I honestly believe in the speed of the game, play that at full speed. I don't think it's illegal. I think it's Morgan Knowles going to try and make a big tackle.
Probably a point Liam Watts was making. I'm sure he'll be watching with interest. OK, we've got the second 40 minutes from the A.J. Bell Stadium here in Salford on the way. We're on the banks of the Manchester Ship Canal. It's a cold evening, but St Helens lead at half-time, 16-0. What have Salford got in the second half? Eddie and the boys on the way.
Don't let a cold rob you of precious hours of sleep. Vicks Vapor Rub, 4-in-1 action against blocked nose, sore throat, congestion, and cough due to colds. So you can get a good night's sleep. Vicks Vapor Rub.
Sorry.
Only BT guarantee Wi-Fi in every room. BT, be there.
You have any idea what's better than supporting a team? Supporting 2 teams! Big hands, whoever invented the half and half scarf. Oh, come on! He's a striker! He struck like one guy! Oh, 10-15? 10-15! I got this down as a 20-all draw! Yes!
Don't bet silly.
Bet savvy. Go both teams! Go both teams!
New Coral customers can get £20 in free bets when they bet £5 on any sport. The smart money's on Coral.
Events in every moment. The new 888 Casino. Play with £88 free.
With BT Plus, if internet disaster strikes, only we'll send you a 4G hub to get you back in the game. BT, be there.
Blocked nose, problems with breathing, feel like you're underwater? Reach for Vicks Sinex. Vicks Sinex starts unblocking the nose in minutes and lasts up to 12 hours. Vicks Sinex.
You know the Subaru XV all-wheel drive can go almost anywhere?
The moon.
What about Yorkshire?
No one had seen this before, and it was a remarkable sight.
Trying to get some idea where the gorillas are. Oh my gosh, the moon's back.
They confronted the border guards, who immediately opened fire.
This creature could become extinct in 5 years.
They're running now towards the border. It was always an impossible dream.
With Sky VIP, these amateurs were given a chance to tee off with the pros.
what an experience playing with a professional golfer on the European Tour.
You too could spend the day with a sports celebrity. Find your Sky VIP experience on the My Sky app. It's our way of saying thank you.
Here's your moment. Takes it cleanly. Half-time here, Salford against St Helens. We have 3 more matches for you live. 2 from the Betfred Super League, 1 from the Championship. Tomorrow we're at Leeds. Leeds come home after 4 matches away. They take on Wakefield Trinity, 7 o'clock Sky Sports Arena. On Saturday evening, Catalan Dragons will face Warrington in the south of France, 5 o'clock on Arena and Sky Sports Mix. And on Sunday at 3 from the Betfred Championship, Dewsbury against Toronto at 3 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena again. Misty, drizzly night here in the city of Salford, and the Red Devils 0, St Helens 16, as Lachlan Coote prepares to get this second half underway. Obvious thing to say, fellas, but Salford have to score first.
Yeah, they can't just play the game safe now, Eddie. 16 points behind, playing at home. They need to make that home advantage count against this Saints side that certainly know that they've got to start really well, slow Salford down, and make sure that they don't build with any confidence going into this second half.
As we've said a few times, Salford's kicking game has probably been a little bit better than St Helens, but looking at the half-time stats, no goal line dropouts for either side, so Salford might have a little look at that, try and build some pressure through that man Jackson Hastings.
He got a bang then as he went down, bang on the back of the head. Watford trundling the ball forward. Last tackle though here for them, so Louis' kick will have to be good. It's high. Lachlan Coote is underneath it. Pretty safe.
But it's all on the back of that, so they make 60 metres carrying the ball, they kick the ball long, the 12 metres from Saints line, but they've got to make sure that they restrict the metres that Saints are trying to make. The couple of plays that Saints always seem to get on the roll with some quick plays from the outside backs, and then all of a sudden you get the likes of Walmsley and Thompson coming on, which makes it difficult.
A couple of dominant tackles from Salford though.
And the Red Devils faced St Helens in Super League twice last year, and the Saints found wins relatively easy to come by, and they have found it relatively easy since they moved into the AJ Bell Stadium. But it was they lost both matches here in 2016 and 2017 did St Helens, but it was a 34 win in the Super 8s in 2017 and 60-10 those matches in the Super League, and that was last year, the 60-10. I remember it vividly. It was a walk in the park for St Helens. It hasn't been as easy tonight though, it has to be said.
You'd have to feel sorry for Salford, wouldn't you, if you're a neutral tuning in here, because both of the tries, the second and the third tries, there was an element of luck. The referee has to make a difficult decision out on the field, but we think with hindsight perhaps the ball could have been maybe given to the Salford side. So realistically the scoreline could have been looking at 4-0 really at this point. They're still in the contest, but it's whether they can maintain the belief and energy now, even with that 16-point deficit. They go for a 40-20 kick from Robert Louis.
It skips away on the turf, but Lachlan Coote just manages to stop it from going over the sideline. So let's pick up the half-time news from inside those dressing rooms, and here is Angela Powers.
Thanks, Eddie. Well, Ian Watson said that St Helens are finishing their sets better kicks, and they're not that far off Salford, but losing 2 players before the game and during the game was a big disruption, but he's saying that's no excuse. Still 13 players on the field, and he's set them a big challenge to pick up their performance and give it everything they've got in this second half. One glimmer of good news for Salford: Greg Burke had to have a couple of stitches in a head cut, but he did pass his concussion test. Justin Holbrook, happy coach. He said it was a hard first half and Salford are a dangerous team and they had to work really hard to nullify them, which they did. They've just got to do it again in this second half.
Concern on the face of Justin Holbrook here though, because Jansen Turgott, he had his neck caught in a really dodgy position here, and the 3 Salford players in attendance.
As we were watching that, Eddie, well, Terry and I looking at Stuart Cummins, we've obviously got a different perspective on it. I'm not sure how Jansen Turgott is meant to do anything else with players at the back of him pushing him forward. while Lachlan Coote is trying to get to the floor. It does end up awkward, and we hope that Lachlan Coote is okay. Is it illegal? We think maybe not.
Well, I think first of all I'd say there's a head clash just as he goes into the tackle, so that could be something to do with part of his injury. There is some pressure on the back of the neck, but you know, it's up to the referees to decide whether that was intentional or not. But there's certainly pressure on the back of the neck as he was going down.
So the referee with a decision to make here. That incident will be on report, and really Salford will be a touch relieved about that, because it could have been an automatic yellow card.
Well, it shows us some uncertainty in what he's seen, and putting it on report in that circumstance is the right thing to do.
So Roby at dummy half for St Helens gives it to Alex Walmsley. He makes good ground, doesn't he, every time he has the ball in his hands, Walmsley. And so does this fella, Louis McCarthy's guard, flings it back. Almost breakneck pace there to Roby, who somehow managed to hang on to it.
Well, a wild
flies
offload.
Out.
Yeah, well, a wild offload that goes to the man who's jogging up to get behind the play of the ball. Alex Walmsley again, his second carry in this set of 6.
16-0 down. You cannot fault Salford's enthusiasm.
Their efforts have been really good, Eddie. Everything about what they've been doing has been very good. They're not just trying to win the game by 5 drives and a kick. They are trying to ask questions. This man who just passed the ball, Jackson Hastings, in the opening 3 minutes in this second half, he's already been tackled twice. I think he's the most tackled halfback in the game.
In a dummy half there.
We talked about that run threat from both halfbacks, Hastings and Robert Louis, before the game. They haven't had any field position so far anyway in 4 and a bit minutes of this second half. I'd just like to see them vary that kicking game, try and get the ball in the in goal and build a bit of pressure on Salford, make them fret, stress and defend their own line.
This is Josh Jones again. The man who's been kept fairly quiet by St Helens is Ken Seo on the wing. He's got 4 tries this season so far.
And there it is again, a kick high.
That's off the head of Lomax, went backwards. This is Regan Grace, who was nearly away. It was a very important tackle.
High and hanging kicks are a contest if you can get them right. On that occasion, it's Johnny Lomax, he nods it back.
High hanging kicks anytime are a difficulty for defenders. On a night like this, they're coming out of a very misty sky as well. Almost lose them with the lights as well. Whoops! Well, he manages to recover, Roby. There's Coote again.
Starting to get faster play the ball, so it's taken about 4 or 5 minutes, hasn't it, for them to get that physical dominance. They've rolled down here, it's the last play for Lomax. Kick high into the corner.
There it goes. Playing by 9 levels.
Well, he knew as soon as he caught that ball, then he had to get to ground. And with the likes of Zebte chasing after him.
And he's got to get wider. Daryl Alfetz there running to the markers, making it easy to be tackled. Metres forwards really at a premium. Chris Wellham also maybe made a metre and a half, 2 metres.
There's Paulo on the field as well for the Saints in this second half. Bit of strength, bit of height, bit of weight there. This is Ken Seo. Hastings. Once again. Tuck his head down and get away. Robert Louis. Robert Louis gets it wide to Wellham. Oops. Regan Grace lifted the legs there. He's looking to get away with that. But he doesn't get away with this penalty because he was all over the top of Wellham, and Wellham was all over the top of him.
I think he was fine there, Chris Wellham, yet he's lifted, but he's taken to ground okay, and then all of a sudden he's trying to get up. He actually manhandles.
He dragged Regan Grace.
Yeah, he dragged him over him, and then he gets the penalty.
So much for the referees to look at.
Oh, Johnny Lomax.
Johnson Turgett to look at there when next time he carries the ball.
Tyrone McCarthy.
Reds have changed the hooker. Russikoff. Logan Tompkins, here's the tackle, not backwards. Number 19, Logan Tompkins, throws his pass to Louis.
Hastings, they go wide to Evalds. Junior Sowers hunting a pass further wide, but instead goes into dummy half and finds Jones, who gives it to Hastings. He gets it away once again. Well, it's pretty, it's lateral, and then the pass gets away to Wellham.
I think that was 4 dummy passes all in a row. high levels. There we go.
That's a nice kick, but well policed by Theo Farge.
Well, he spotted that then, didn't he? He knew exactly what Louis was doing. The clever little play from the French international. Anticipated that kick behind the defensive line. Look at him, just waiting to pounce, knowing that Hastings was pushing up.
The former Salford halfback, of course, Theo Farge.
Look at the speed.
Here is Makinson. Through Robert Louis, support is there. Here goes Percival. Gives it back to Makinson. Makinson.
Great defence.
Wonderful defence by Jackson Hastings.
That was more or less an impossible situation to deal with from Jackson Hastings then. When he had Mark Percival in his highlight, he had him in his highlight, and all of a sudden, look at this, Tommy Makinson, look at the speed here, gets rid of those three defenders, has the speed to go on the outside, and all of a sudden he's looking at linking up. As soon as it's a 2-on-1, he gets across. Jackson Hastings, look, he bides his time. Maybe Tommy Makinson should have cut back inside, and it was a little drop-off play when he was committed. But what about that from an effort?
I think even Justin Holbrook wanted to applaud that, Eddie. He appreciates good rugby. And that as a try-saving tackle. Look, he holds the hands together.
He's hiding it well. What effort.
Yeah, he appreciates so. Any player who makes that effort to save a try, he's almost saved the game here. Sent Helens 16 points ahead, extend that to 20, and it probably is game over. But the Reds are still alive in this contest. It would be 3 converted tries. But that player, that tackle, that's won him some respect from his teammates. He now needs them to match his efforts, getting his team upfield, and perhaps now try and find some second phase rugby, some offloads. They're going to have to take some risks because St Helens' defence has been phenomenal for 50 minutes.
Tompkins to Louis. Jackson Hastings. Back it comes to Evolds. He finds Junior Sow. This is Hastings again. High kick, but well, there's no pressure on Lachlan Coote. It was a bit too far ahead of all the Salford chasers then, and he had all the time in the world. Problem here for Turgott by the looks of things. It's like casualty corner, the AJ Bell Stadium tonight for Salford.
Players are going to have to dig in during this game. Of course, Mark Flanagan didn't make the team.
Another one of the favourite penalties of Philip Clark.
There are some occasions then where a player is trapped and he stops play going forward there. But
he didn't have to put the ball on him, did he? He didn't have to put the ball on top of him. Is it a major issue, this, Stuart? Because Phil has highlighted at least 3 or 4 tonight.
Well, it's whether it's an issue of men being behind a ruck in defence, or whether it's a case of them trying to win penalties. You know, I think certainly from the match official point of view, they're trying to create a fast play of the ball by preventing people lying in the back of the ruck.
And that is a phrase that the purists of this game. Here's a penalty to Salford.
Zeb Taylor, when he plays that ball, there's a little bit of wrestle involved in that tackle, and Zeb Taylor plays his ball and pushes Chris Willem aggressive forward. He was hit and pushed back when he charged that ball in from the tap. You see the number 3 around the head, around the neck, and there's the push dealt with by the referee. And they need a slice of luck, Salford, you feel?
They do. I'm just going to make the point, Stuart, that the purists hate the phrase "win a penalty," don't they?
I'm sure they do.
If you're cheating, that's what you're doing, though. You are cheating.
I'm glad you agree, Stuart.
Thanks, Stuart.
Robert Louis down the middle goes Ben Nakambarwai. Fiji in the 2017 World Cup, this fella, back after missing the win at Hull Kingston Rovers.
Oh, no runs there. He was a sitting duck then, Logan Tompkins.
As Matty Lee's Tez has just come on the field, and again he's looking to get involved. I think that's his 3rd effort.
Nakambarwai plays it here to Tompkins. They go the left-hand side with Hastings. Louis stabs the kick in. It's a good kick too, and Makinson has to be quick because CO was hunting the try.
That's a better kick, Eddie. Building pressure, putting the ball behind the try line. Let's see if Salford can take advantage, but look at the threat. While Tommy Makinson is running back towards his sideline, has no option, just pushes it over. Repeat possession for Salford.
Rain has been slanting down all day here in Salford. clear blue skies 24, well, not 24 hours ago, but 12 hours ago.
Hey, look at the completion rates from both sides. They've done decent in this weather. 84% to Red Devils and 78% to Saints. It's not a bad effort in conditions like this.
Here he comes again, Ben Nakambawi.
The fans now lifting. They know that they've won a couple of big charges from the forwards.
Well, a repeat set has set everyone on fire. Turgott, good ball, Wellham. Good tackle, Percival. Into centre field they go with Louis. Big fella trying to barge his way through once again. But we'll play it here to Tompkins. Tompkins then spins it back to Louis. Louis just delayed, but manages to get the ball away, smuggles it away to Tompkins, and Lomax quickly in on him. Here's Turgott again. Now it's Louis. Thought about going left, comes right with a kick out wide. The ball has come free, and Daryl Alfords has plucked this ball out of the sky, and if it's given the green light by video referee Robert Hicks, Daryl Alfords, who's got 7 tries in his last 7, including last year, and 2 tries against Hull KR last week and at Huddersfield in round 1, might have got another try here.
Well, it looks like he's onside here. He's behind that white line 10 metres away. He gets above Mark Percival. He's known for his big go forward, normally averages around 20 carries a game, but look at this. Gets the ball, leaves Percival on the ground. Regan Grace can't stop him. There's not. When he goes up to catch that ball.
Doesn't look anything wrong with that, does there?
No, but just when he releases the ball in the air, does Percival touch it again? Look.
Well, that's what they're looking for. They're looking to see if it hits Percival, which would obviously be a knock-on.
They're going to look at the grounding, I think. They are. And I think Daryl Alfords has got his 3rd try of the season, the former Newcastle Thunder man in League One. What a step up to Super League this guy has made. And this, I think, will be given the green light by Robert Hicks, and indeed it is, and Salford are back in the contest. Daryl Alfords, 27 years of age, impressive, and a good try. Salford on the board.
Well, that will spark the game up now. Will it spark Salford and put a bit of confidence, a bit of wind into the sail? Repeat possession, as we said. Cansillo's going to have a go at conversion.
Big kick in the context of this game for Salford, this. Back to within 10 points. Doesn't miss. Yes, he does. It spun away and hit the post.
Shame for Salford, and John Wells used an expression at the crest of the jump. Here's the repeat possession. Tommy Makinson and St Helens on another kick. All the action shut down. The players were in front of him, Robert Lewis, so he came back to the right, and at the crest of the jump, well, he had it nicked out of his hands, did he, Mark Percival? Wonderful work, great determination, and a good try for Salford.
Well, we said before the game that St Helens have got a problem with the goal kicker. Ken Seals, 6 from 12 his success rate, so the Reds either aren't particularly good at adding those extra 2 points, and they needed really those, don't they, to narrow the gap.
Well, they do. It's 2 converted tries, but that looked like it was over for all money, and now they come up with an error.
Well, a mistake from Gil Dudson. Still, you can go back to that tackle from Jackson Hastings. You can go to the penalty that Zeb Taylor gave when he was in possession that led to that try. What you've got to do after scoring a try that gives yourself some hope in the game, you've got to get through your next set of 6. Start knocking off your sets of 6 in blocks of 5. Important now that after making that mistake, they prevent Saints from getting over the try line, but also they complete the next 4 or 5 sets.
Here comes Lomax now for St Helens. They start this set just 10-11 metres away. An immediate response from the Saints after conceding the try. You make the point about or Phil made the point about the kickers. CO, Hastings and Lussick. They've used 3 kickers already this year. That's a good hit on Matty Costello. 3 gone, 3 left for St Helens. Looking to respond immediately. Joseph Paulo grounded on tackle number 4. Roby down the short side. Coote. Oh, that's touched by Jackson Hastings. Oh, it's a knock on the ground, and a try here, I think. A try for Dominique Peyrou, if it's given by Robert Hicks. And I don't see anything wrong with this, really. It was knocked back first by Hastings, then it was knocked on by Hastings on the deck. Greasy, it has to be said. But they're looking for onside or offside.
Well, he's been quick to react, hasn't he, Dominic Peyrou? He went for one in the first half. That was chalked off. Jackson Hastings was aware of the kick. Can't take it in cleanly. Here he makes a second attempt for it as he's on the ground. And you can see that he loses the ball there as Peyrou's dragging him forward. And then does Peyrou manage to get this ball down on the line? It seems to always be where the action is in this game.
We're looking at a possible touch by Lachlan Coote here.
Or is Dominic Peyrou tackling Hastings without the ball, Eddie? Just before we get to that point, maybe they've got to go back to the very start of that. Does he have hands on the red shirt before Hastings has a chance to get the ball? More like they're looking at that. He dragged it forward anyway.
I don't think that's an issue. I think the main concern of the video referee here is whether Coote actually touches the ball before it goes forward.
He's got hold of it before he'd even made any contact with the ball, Peyrou.
Well, I don't think they're looking at that, Phil.
Well, I think
they might be now.
That's what you can't tackle him without the ball, which is what he's done there.
Interesting there to see. Does he actually touch the ball?
Don't we need to see this at full speed?
Yeah. What the ruling I think will be is that the tackle was complete when 17 is it Peyrou gets hold of the ball, gets hold of the player on the ground. So the tackle's complete at that point. He loses the ball after the tackle's complete. So therefore you can't play on from that.
Well, he's bemused. He's Justin Holbrook.
The tackle's been completed.
Peyrou has had 2 tries disallowed tonight by Robert Hicks.
No, you're saying that
Jackson
the
Hastings again.
Salford man is tackled, then that's it. When then he's lost the ball.
The man who saved that try.
Wait there, please.
Can they keep the Saint side out for another set of 6 here?
Fellas. Let's bind.
St Helens strong for the knock-on by Hastings.
Knock-on by Hastings after the tackle's complete.
Lomax, back it comes. Lachlan Coote, here they come with Regan Grace. They only delay the inevitable. It doesn't go down as a try for Dominique Peyrou. It goes down instead as a try for Regan Grace. He didn't score last week against Leeds. He failed to score last week for the first time this year. But he's got back on the horse tonight. And Regan Grace, 32 tries now in 62 St Helens appearances so far, and a couple of tries in that 60 points to 10 win here last year. Quite a finisher, this young man.
Well, Chris Wellham has had a brain explosion here on defence. You could see that he came in on his opposite. He wasn't accounting for the man at the back though, Lachlan Coote. You just have a little look. He comes in, interested in his opposite, and Lachlan Coote has just got a nice, more or less 2-on-1 with Regan Grace, who's got too much space on the outside. But you try and solve them problems yourself. You can't come up with it. If you come in and you try and close the play down, you've got to make sure you come up with the right tackle. And Sean Long, Justin Holbrook know that could be the try they're looking for to take this game away from Salford.
Well, Salford were back in the hunt for 3 minutes. Saints had a try disallowed to Dominique Peyrou. There's nothing to deny Regan Grace on that one. And so it's 20 points to 4. And Lachlan Coote with a very difficult conversion attempt. There's a left-footed kicker who's on the left-hand side of the field, as you can see. Just the wrong side. Just looks at the sky as he goes back. Grimaces. But 20 points to 4, 16-point gap.
Well, we perhaps underestimate that little skip and jump that Johnny Lomax, the number 1, does there. Just by jumping off the floor, you make the rest of the defenders just pause momentarily. As he lands, he explodes into the left-hand side and just draws in the defenders. It's basically only turning your hips in that was enough to give Regan Grace the space out wide to slide in and extend that lead.
Well, we're seeing St Helens, I think, defending their 100% record here at Salford. Tomorrow night we're in Leeds at revamped Headingley as the Rhinos come home for the first time this year against local rivals Wakefield. That's a 7 o'clock start on Sky Sports Arena. And then on Saturday, Warrington Wolves, another team riding high at the top of the table, take on the Catalan Dragons in Perpignan. That's a 5 o'clock start on Sky Sports Arena again. Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook, meanwhile, for St Helens. 21 minutes remaining. 16 points the gap. It has been a workmanlike performance from Salford, but St Helens have just got a little bit of the X factor, haven't they?
Yeah. And when they come
These
up with
kicks
those,
are causing them all sorts of trouble.
well, that one just goes out.
Out on the full.
Well,
NCO took a gamble then.
Salford needs to come up with some high-risk players now. Justin Holbrook knowing that they would have liked to have kept that ball in field. You look at the two Saints players that are chasing up in Costello or Makinson. Look at that line speed again. And Nakambawa, it's not even got over the advantage line. Louis McCarthy, Scarsbrook and Leeds were up that quick.
Everything about defence for St Helens has been spot on. So far, according to our records, only 4 missed tackles, and there were 3 in the first half. So in the first 20 minutes, only 1 miss. Good line speed, good contact, and you see everybody doing his job. We saw that try that was scored by St Helens. Chris Wellham trying to fix something that probably wasn't his. He needed to show some trust in Robert Louis, who was inside him. And St Helens here, looking control.
And they are justifying their pre-season tag of favourites for the grand final, aren't they, this year so far? A long way to go yet, though.
Nice kick.
That is a good kick. A little bobble there, but it came off the feet of Coote. It wasn't off his fingertips.
Well, off the back of that good kick, they need some physical defence here now. Look at that now. Nakambawa going hunting. These outside backs here now, the forwards can really try and get in the face.
Good defence from Salford. Desperately trying to keep St Helens deep in their own half of the field. Percival with a run.
You know what you want to do, Eddie, but it's hard trying to stop them from doing it. There's Kyle Amor now, his first carry.
They're up to halfway at the end of this set. So it's a good relieving runs from St Helens that's got them there. That's a lovely kick as well. Can see you'll have to work hard. The chase is good as well.
Well, both kicks landing near the try line. Saints managing to make 50 metres when they were carrying the ball. Let's see what Salford can do.
They're in good form at home, you know, Salford. They've only lost 1 of their last 6 home games going back to last year. That was against Leeds here a fortnight ago, so it looks like it might be back-to-back home defeats.
They fell
for the
apart.
Red Devils.
Sorry, Eddie, in that game against Leeds, they just fell apart in the final quarter. The Rhinos up the speed and put several tries on in that last 20-minute period here.
They had Turgott in the sin bin, didn't they, at some stage during that game as well. Here tonight they've had double trouble with injury.
Yeah.
It's disrupted them. But as I say, workmanlike for Salford. I think they'll win more than they lose this year.
They're a good side, led by that man, aren't they? Him and Louis. Really like the way that they play together. You've got, obviously, Avals at the back and Rosick. Every time he gets out from dummy half on the back of a quick play the ball, he looks to link up with that man.
He arrived back end of last year. Played in 10 of 12 since he arrived. He missed a couple through suspension, and significantly last year, the matches that he missed because of suspension, Salford lost. So he was very important to them as they battle their way through the qualifiers again.
That's where they've been good, St Helens. In the build-up to this game, and the lads in the studio were previewing how the sides might go against one another. We're talking about the battle of the middles, the battle of the meters. And we've seen Kyle Amor, I think that's his 2nd or his 3rd carry.
Oh, a nice ball over the top to Regan Grace.
It gives the outside players half a chance when they're in A, good field position, and B, when they've got a retreating defensive line in front of them.
Percival again. Coote tips it inside to Paulo. Moved down by Nakambawa. Here is Farge now, another floating high kick. Kensio underneath it. Oh, he's going to be forced over the line. It's going to be a goal line dropout.
Big defence that, Eddie.
Huge. Matty Lee's leading the way.
Well, they weren't just content with just taking him to ground. And when he catches that ball, he's trying to get his arm down on the floor, get the ball grounding. Look at the effort there, Zebtaya. He's been big in this game.
So a goal line dropout coming up for Salford. Skins all on the deck. Coote will get it away to Lees. The Salford chase on that dropout was a little laboured. Amor starting to run out of steam.
I was just going to say that then. The line speed's not as aggressive now from Salford.
Lomax. Wellham this time deals with a threat. And a heavy bang there did Johnny Lomax. Taya. Ball out to Matty Lees. 10 metres away, St Helens, Roby. Paulo again. Spun to the ground by Dutson. Knock on, says Dutson. Ben Thaler does not agree. He gives a penalty against Salford.
Well, Greg Burke and that man Gil Dutson, and they both go in. They look to swing him down to the ground. You can see the right hand of Greg Burke all over Paulo on the ball.
It's a great position here now, and it's a test to see what sets have got in their attack. They've been phenomenal with the defence. Farge and Lomax and Coote. How do they combine here now, and what's typically the best part of the field to attack from?
It's Theo Farge and then Joseph Paulo. And the penalty this time goes Salford's way.
Is there an obstruction in that play there? He moved from right to left. Is it Paulo who cuts back? There it is, Matty Lees in the defensive line.
And it's a big relief that for Salford. Pressure was building on their line. It takes them 30 metres away.
Need to find a spark now, Salford, although the scoreboard's against them. I'm not sure whether they've got enough time or enough energy or enterprise to get anywhere near the winning circle today, but they've got to throw something at St Helens.
This is Murray fighting for his feet, gets the ball away to Tompkins at dummy half. Louis, Hastings. Josh Jones has been kept very quiet tonight. His former team.
They know how dangerous he is. Jones and Gill, just a little bobble with that then to readjust, catch the ball, and then he was confronted with Kyle Amor.
So quick, isn't it? So quick, this defensive line of St Helens. Hastings. Last tackle they've arrived at again. Louis. Hits it high. Coote under it. That's a good chase. Good chase by Chris Wellham, that.
Yeah, an excellent chase. Chris Wellham just timed that tackle to perfection. There was 4 or 5 of his teammates around him.
Now, can they keep them down here? That's the thing.
Well, that's the big challenge for them now, Eddie. What they can do, how can they finish the game? What sort of form can they keep taking in to the following games that's coming up? They've got some tough encounters coming in the next 3 weeks.
Makinson. Roby. Zebtaya. The rain has been relentless since about midday.
And St Helens' defence has been relentless from the kick-off, Eddie. I think that's the lesson for me. Very often we've watched Saints in previous seasons where they've been phenomenal, they've scored some sensational tries, but they haven't had that real toughness at tackling. Well, that's been quite the opposite here tonight. It seems as though that their main goal was to be the best defenders out on the field for 80 minutes, and then they'd worry about how many points they could get, how many their opponents got at the end of the match. But surely, they've clearly had enough ability to get over the line several times. But to me, the image I've got here is that they're really steel-like, isn't it? It's a wall in front of Salford.
Very solid, the defence. And Salford themselves have had a huge turnaround in player personnel in the winter. 10 players left for various reasons. The big signing, though, was that of Jackson Hastings. Wanted by other clubs, but decided to stay here.
And again, Lachlan Coote manages to deal with that high kick under some pressure. And Salford Well, they're not lying down, are they? They're still trying very hard, right the way to the end here.
I'll bet you Ian Watson thinks, I wish I had 17 Jackson Hastings. He's been huge in attack, but it's his defensive effort. We'll see him flying through the screen on a number of occasions. Ian Watson barking instruction from the sideline. That's a good kick from St Helens.
Great kick from Roby that. He saw a massive space out there on the far side.
And look, he's the first player down. Look at him just coming up the belly of the defence in the middle. He's involved in that tackle. He doesn't sit back when he gets that kick away. He knows that he's got good contact on it. His next job is to get down and put pressure on the man who's going to get the ball.
He's never scored on this ground, though. James Roby.
Well, 42 tackles he's made in this game.
Until tonight.
42 tackles in this game. Him and the likes of Dominic Peru been very strong.
So it's another little personal milestone for James Roby tonight. Scored at the Willows. Never scored here until this evening. Oh, that's a nice ball from Turgott to Hastings. But look at the threat that Hastings has, and they know that St Helens. They surround him, and he got clocked in the face.
You're right, it's a lazy lunging arm. It's a nice offload from Jansen Turgott. Zeb Taylor just clips the scrum half just around the back of the head. But an offload from Jansen Turgott, a broken defensive line for one of the few occasions so far this evening. He doesn't want to go off, does he? Jackson Hastings.
Well, he sinks to the floor.
There didn't seem too much wrong with him after the tackle. But he's down, and he hasn't been down all evening. Is there a clash of heads? Let's have a look. There you go, yeah. Johnny Lomax, Jackson Hastings. You see Johnny Lomax hold his mouth, nose, jaw, teeth. Jackson Hastings comes off second best.
Don't forget, as well as the two matches from the Super League, we have a match for you again from the Betfred Championship on Sunday. The Toronto Wolfpack are in Dewsbury. We'll be with them at 3 o'clock on Sky Sports Arena. Just over 10 minutes to go here. Jackson Hastings will be all right. I'll be all right. He doesn't want to come off, that's for sure. And Salford won't want him off. He's the star of the show.
No, he certainly is. He looks to try and spread those defenders and try and break the likes of Johnny Lomax down, but I think there you go. The coach not taking any chances.
Absolutely.
Joey Lussick ready to come on the field. It's going to be seeing the sign, the head knock. So he's going to be on, he's going to come off, and he's going to be assessed.
Well, his side, Ian Watson's side, might not get the victory tonight, but with that man in the ranks, the following week, the competitive spirit that he's got, he won't give up. And Ian Watson's saying, that's enough for you, champ. Gives him a little wink. As I said before, Mark Flanagan not selected for this match. A lot of experience, winning mentality still in the ranks of Salford. Not been good enough tonight.
He doesn't want to leave the field, does he, Jackson Hastings? But he's going to be assessed by the doctor.
Well, he's a competitor, isn't he? He knows they're behind on the scoreboard by 16 points. He doesn't want to leave his teammates on the field. Still wants to stay in the battle.
McCarthy goes down. Tompkins to the left-hand side. Lussick finds Louis. Lussick again to Daniel Murray. On and off a couple of times tonight, Daniel Murray, but thought he was playing at all until the warm-up. On the bounce, finds Wellham, and the Saints defence find Chris Wellham and drive him back. Last tackle in this set coming up for Salford. Lussick again, measured kick this time. Now then, there's something on here for Junior Sow. No, there isn't.
At times that to perfection, doesn't he? Tommy Makinson buys a bit of time, waits to see what sort of hang time there's going to be on that ball, and then all of a sudden just runs onto it and gets above his teammate Costello.
deceive me, but I think that Junior Sau is limping pretty heavily. He seemed to labour his way towards that high kick on that left-hand side of the field.
Oh, you're right, Eddie. Looks like he's picked up a dead leg. You see his left already heavily strapped.
Thompson takes it forward again for Saints.
That's all you need with the last 9 minutes, isn't it? Him running at you.
Another good kick into open space. St Helens turning. Evel's around. Will it run dead? Will it run dead? Yes, he takes the gamble and it does. So they get one extra from the 20-metre restart.
Well, too much on that kick, but again, you look at what Saints were doing in the final. Just over 8 minutes to go in this game. There was 8 players running up in the middle of the field, playing to the end. They look very fit, they look very hungry. Defensively working very hard, not letting Junior Sau get to ground.
Well, at the minute, it looks like St Helens are winning that energy battle. A lot of that work done in the first half, playing behind a good kicking game, making the Salford attackers work hard from close to their own line. You see Josh Jones, I think Robert Louis, desperately trying to find something on the edge, but they've been unbreakable for most of the evening, St Helens.
Well, after this, Saints face London at home. They go to Huddersfield, 2 bottom clubs in the competition. Then on the 22nd of March, they're at Castleford, and that's a match you'll be able to see with us. And then they face Hull Kingston Rovers before the new month ends. For Salford, whose high kick here is delivered by Lussick, and it's taken by Lachlan Coots. They've got Catalan away next week, Castleford away, Wigan at home, Wakefield away. That's a tough month of March for the Red Devils.
Well, this is the sort of game that will certainly set them up for those contests. Again, you're looking for what your teammates are doing, you're looking for what the players are doing around you.
Well, I think the Saints fans are almost hoping here now in these final 10 minutes that there's some Saints magic. Won't be there with a Junior Sau tackle there. Saw him in half.
And that's the sort of thing that I'm talking about. What's Ian Watson thinking about when he's looking at the clock, counting down what's going to be there from his team? You've got Robert Louis, who dislodges the ball from Morgan Knowles, then Junior Sau, but it's all about the line speed, it's all about the effort and energy that they're showing at the back end of the game.
And that's Junior Sau, who's been limping for the last couple of minutes. You're right, Eddie, and Junior Sau in particular plays busted, plays tough, and does what his side needs.
He scores a few tries as well, does Junior Sau. He just needs 1 try this season to go level with David Hodgson in 4th place in Salford's all-time Super League try chart. He's been a good servant for them. The former New Zealand international. Murray for the Red Devils. Just less than 6 minutes to go. And you've got to credit Salford, you know, they've kept this going. Every time you say that, Eduardo, you make a mess of it for them. Here goes Makinson. Here goes Makinson. It's a foot race. Sio's after him, Eval's after him. What a great chase back.
Huge effort from those two.
They're split though, they're split in defence. Robbie! He hasn't scored on this ground before tonight. He's got 2. And he's sealed the win for St Helens. They go top of the Betfred Super League table tonight. And big smiles on the face of Justin Holbrook and Sean Long.
Well, what a phenomenal athlete that man is. It's incredible, isn't it? You know that all the work that he does in defence. He's made 50 tackles in this game, yet he still manages, with less than 5 minutes to go, to score a try. Look, quick again on the breakdown. Theo Fi's another player who, over on the right-hand side, has played well. A decent foot race there between Ken Sio and Tommy Makinson. Ken Sio tracking him down. Again, good effort to get down there and prevent them from scoring a try. But look at James Roby calling for it over on the right-hand side. The step, the footwork, still the power to beat Sio and get over the try line.
You'd be tempted to think that James Roby times that run perfectly, but when the initial break is made, although it's a little bit slower than it was when he was younger and had younger legs, James Roby immediately turns from transition from defence to attack, gets on his bike, knowing that at some point there might be an offload, it might be scruffy, but he'll be there. And then when heroically Salford make that tackle, and deny the break turning into a try, he profits from his hard work.
Well, he's 33 years young, is James Roby. He's been capped 7 times by Great Britain, 36 times for England. This is Lachlan Coote, meanwhile, to try and add the extra 2. And he does. Thumbs up to the supporters who are right behind him then. 26 for Roby. He is leading the Man of Steel vote this year. He was Man of Steel last in 2007. New system this year of points, win prizes. Will he wrap up the Man of Steel title before Easter?
Well, he will if he's judged on effort, and his effort to get round about the same vicinity. Look at him on the right. He calls for that ball, he wants that ball, and he's probably run 70 or 80 metres.
Eddie, if I have to have a heart transplant, I hope I get one as good as his. That's all I can say, and I've thought that now for a very long time. Anybody in hospital who is waiting for a heart transplant, I hope that you'll get one that is as good as James Roby's. He's absolutely phenomenal.
He really is. He really is. And he's I said last week in commentary, he's Mr. Consistency.
Yeah.
Every week, and I think
Phil said it before. He said he's 8 or 9 every week.
8 out of 10 every week.
And sometimes you don't give him the credit because he is that consistent.
And here is Theo Farge. 3 minutes to the end of this match. St Helens coming forward looking for more. Matty Costello, who has filled in well for Kevin Nagama tonight. The only change that the Saints have made in their 4 games so far, one of their players has gone down after the kick.
Well, good teams, Eddie, have consistency, don't they? Not only in the performances, but also in the team of who's in, not wholesale changes from Saints, and what the consistency that they've got with the likes of James Roby.
Phil, it is your responsibility. Oh, he's gone. He's on his way. He's on his way to the studio.
I think he's going asking for a heart transplant.
I think he's getting.
He's not done with him too much.
Nipping into the Manchester Royal Infirmary as he just putting his name down on the list. Well, he has disappeared. I was going to ask him, but I think we all know. I hope I'm not preempting what he's going to say, but
I hope you get this right, Eddie.
I think he's given it to James Roby, hasn't he? James Roby is the Betfred man of the match.
He talks about his heart, but it's his lungs, it's his effort.
I don't know why Phil needs anything like a new. He's quick. He's rapid off this gantry.
Only when he wants to go home.
Well, he's going. He's going over to the other side of the field to the studio to join Brian and the boys.
Lachlan Coote, he's another player in a St Helens shirt. He's had a lot of work. He's had a lot of things to deal with. Terrible conditions to be a fullback on a night like this. But Salford Red Devils all the way to the end. Not going to be enough tonight.
I wonder if someone would like to give Phil a ring just to check that I've got the right name. Knowing him, he's got his phone switched off.
Eddie, you've already given it James Roby. You've given him.
Roby is the man of the match. You turn round, he's gone. Normally first out the car park, isn't he? Here it is. Here's Daniel Murray. Well, good on you, Salford. You've given it a good shot, but you've come up against a class act tonight in St Helens and Roby. McCarthy.
They've been very stubborn, haven't they? Look at that defence. And there's some good signs there for the coach, Justin Holbrook.
Oh. Lomax. A little halfback, he puts himself about. Here's Wellham. Now Louis. Good step from Louis. And the ball, in the end, finds its way into Zeptea's arms.
And it's not just about the amount of, or lack of, missed tackles where St Helens have been good defensively. They've put bodies in the way. The scramble defence has been good.
Well, there he goes, Phil Clark. Just make a call. Just tell us who the man of the match is. It's too late. We've given it. We've given it.
You can hear the people at home cheering. Hopefully he's gone home.
No, you're leading that cheer, Barry. Well, Tommy Makinson is just going to run the ball out of play. There's the full-time siren. St Helens go top of the table again. 100% record intact. They go top of the table for, well, 24 hours, 48 hours at least. A very good performance in the wet here in Salford. They were 16-0 up at half-time. Daryl Alford's try in the 53rd minute gave Salford some hope, but 3 minutes later Regan Grace was over for his try, and then James Roby, who prior to tonight hasn't scored on this ground, comes up with a double. Second of them in the 75th minute, and despite what Phil Clark might say, he is the Betfred man of the match tonight. But St Helens looking good, looking very good at the start again.
It was a dangerous game for Saints, and I said at the start of the game that the 4 games that they've played this year, Salford scored an average of 24 points. They're a star-studded side, but Salford really stuck to them, stuck to the task, but it was just some of the class that Saints had to score the points, just to nail this victory. Some good signs from the likes of that man, Theo Flies, Johnny Lomax, Lachlan Coote. Those Saints fans know that last year they were the best team in the competition, but when it mattered, they couldn't quite finish the season off. Can it be their year this year?
Well, yeah, the 2 semi-finals, one in the Cup, one in the playoffs last year, they fell short, the Saints. They finished up with the League Leaders' Shield, top of the tree by 6 points. They were the team of the year in many ways last year, the Saints, but they did not perform on the big occasion. They didn't make it to Old Trafford, they never made it to Wembley either. But with the likes of Lachlan Coote, Roby, Makinson, Percival, Walmsley, Thompson, well, tremendous team effort tonight in awful conditions. Well, here he is, Phil Clark's Betfred Super League man of the match, James Roby with Angela Powell.
Yes, I'm sorry, we've not got a silver salver for you. Jake Truman took it home with him last week, but we will deliver it to you, man of the match. And you've taken a few hits there, but 2 tries as well. First 2 tries on this ground.
Yeah, it was nice to obviously get all for the tries, but I thought that was a really tough game, to be honest. It was. I thought we played very well in the first half. We completed very well, kept hold of the ball well, and you know, full credit to Salford, the way they hung in there right until the last minute. You know, they're still forcing us down our own goal line, so it was a really tough game.
And it was doing the basics well in that first half, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, just running hard, you know, carrying strong and playing the ball fast and giving them the ball back on their own line. And like I said, we put them under a lot of pressure in that first half, and I think ultimately in the second half, you know, it probably took quite a lot of gas out of them, but full credit to Salford, because I think they stuck in there right to the end.
What is the secret of your longevity? Because Phil Clark was just saying that if he needs a heart transplant, he's going to queue up for yours at some point.
No, I just enjoy my rugby, try and keep things as simple as possible, and just go out there and do my job. Yeah, and obviously it helps that, you know, the team I'm in, we've got a great team, and I think, you know, this fella here, Lachlan Coote, the way he played today, the control he showed at the back and the catches under pressure, you know, at crucial times in the game, it was really big plays.
It was great to watch, and there's your cheque to a charity of your choice. Where will it go, James?
Yeah, I'd like to send it to Group B Strep Support, please.
Brilliant, thank you, congratulations. Lachlan Coote will come and talk to us now. A great game to watch, but it was one of those hard-working games where you just said to James, you did the basics and you stuck at it.
Yeah, 100%. That's what we knew. You know, Salford, they say, always get up for against us. So we just stuck to the basics, and it was a credit to Salford. They didn't go away. They kept coming at us. But you know, I can't fault our effort indeed. The boys were awesome back there, and you know, when you got James Robes on your side making effort on effort, it's lovely to watch from the back.
You've just been getting better and better every week in terms of finishing and execution and just doing those little bits that need to be done in a game.
Yeah, well, it's good to be back. You know, I'm 4 games in now, and you know, just getting used to the systems and all that, and all the players around me and how they work, and slowly building some combinations with the boys, and you know, it's just good to come out and get 4 on the trot now.
There was a few injuries on their side, but it looked at one point like you might have to go off. It looked a bit like a Crusher tackle. Your point of view on that?
Yeah, I don't understand how it can go and report and not a penalty, but yeah, it was a bit of a crusher. It was an accident. It happens in games, but I didn't come off too bad, so it was good.
And the thing is about playing Salford, it's always going to be a tough game here, and they're a better team than they were last year, so you'll be really pleased with that win.
Yeah, well, they've been playing some good footy. You know, they've got a few wins now, so you know, we knew it was going to be tough down here, especially playing them at home and on a wet, greasy night too. So you know, I think it suited us out there tonight, and it all come down to our defence.
Congratulations, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Cheers.
I think we're going to have Ian Watson now. Ian, have you got a second? Sorry to interrupt you there. A tough all night, really, but your players were dogged and they worked really hard all the way to the end.
Yeah, I thought they showed a lot of effort and endeavour in there. It's just, I thought Saints were great with the defence, the way they consistently turned us over in the pocket, and then they just knew when to up the tempo defensively. We didn't do that in the first half. We gave 7 tackle sets away and we kept kicking into the middle of the field, giving them 2 ways out. They were just relentless at turning us over in the pocket and dominating us defensively. I thought second half we were better at that and was in the game for that first half. We just need to start with that mentality. But that's the best teams playing against these guys. We've got to be good at that for 80 minutes.
It didn't help really the disruption of losing Griffin before kick-off, and Mossop, who was out for a great game as well, within minutes of the kick-off.
Yeah, things like that happen. You've just got to be flexible a little bit. Obviously losing George, big blow, losing Moose straight away. It's to an hamstring when he'd had a little bit of a problem with his foot all week as well. Doesn't obviously help, but like I say, that's not why we lost today. I thought Saints were very good today.
And the big picture, though, do you feel as though this has been a good performance to build on for the next few weeks?
Oh, real good with the effort, better with the second half defensively. Obviously, we need to tidy a little bit of our attack up there, but conditions obviously don't allow that. We've got to be a bit more dogged as a team to stay in games and learn to win them, but I suppose that's why these play grand finals and play semi-finals consistently, because they know how to do that.
Great, thanks for your time, Ian. Appreciate that. We've got Justin Holbrook now, the Saints coach. We saw the delight on your face, especially when James Rugby went over for his second try, and I suppose you've got to be happy with that performance tonight.
Oh, I'm extremely happy, yeah. I thought, we spoke about before the game how well Salford has started this season, so I thought, that's probably our best performance tonight against a dangerous attacking side. And just a bit of a laugh at the end for Robes to turn up there after we made a break for 80 metres is, I rate him every time I speak, but yeah, it's a phenomenal player that he is, and yeah, we're lucky to have him.
He is quite special, but in a special team as well. You can see your team getting better every week. It's going to be hard to stop this year.
Oh yeah, long way to go, but yeah, I thought they were a lot better this week than last week, which is the plan, and yeah, I thought it was a really good win tonight. Tough conditions, and as I said, Salford have been going really well and asked a lot of questions of us, so yeah, really happy with tonight's game.
And they had the disruption of losing players as well at the beginning, so that kind of played into your hands a little bit, but they never gave up, and that Jackson Hastings tackle on Makinson, that's some effort.
Yeah, massive effort, wasn't it? Yeah, I wasn't happy with the outcome, but yeah, big effort from Jacko, and the fans love him here at Salford, and he's been great for him since he came over last year. So yeah, we knew we had to play well with the likes of him and Robert Louis tonight, and I think we did that. So I'm happy.
You did the job and you got the win. Thanks very much, Justin.
Thanks, Angel. Cheers.
Unbeaten start to the season for St Helens, and Justin Holbrook continues. They kept Leeds scoreless in the second half. Last week they restricted Salford to just a single try in 80 minutes tonight. That will no doubt please their head man, James Roby, with 2 tries, Percival Lomax and Grace Coote, 3 successful conversions. Okay, let's have a look at the match stats now from that game. 50% possession, I should say, split between both the sides, so Salford evening that up in the second half. Tackles missed, 25 for Salford, just the 7 for the Saints, and very low on the handling errors, just 4 in 80 minutes. Okay, we can go to John Wells now, who's going to take us through that second half action and your game breaker, John.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. And it was the Salford Red Devils who had the better of the opening exchanges of the second 40 minutes. Fantastic try-saving tackle that Justin Holbrook's just referred to on the 48th minute before Salford got their sole try of the game. It came from Robert Louis, a change of direction and an assist and a great catch, and put down by Daryl Alfords. 53 minutes, 4 points to 16. It was as good as it got, though, for the Red Devils. Gil Dudson knocking on their next possession. That paved the way, didn't it, for, first of all, a try that was ruled out, and they judged to have been a penalty for a drag against Dominic Peyroux, but it only delayed the inevitable as Regan Grace crossed from the resulting scrum on 56 minutes. Great work in the build-up from Johnny Lomax to get outside his man. Grace crossing almost untouched in the corner. That was your 20 points to 4. And then a fantastic break after a pass too many from Junior Sow. Farge finding Makinson back on the inside. He covered 60 metres, was dragged down by Ken Seo. That dogged defence that Ian Watson was talking about, and it was still there right in the closing stages of that second half. And who pops up? First man off the ruck, James Roby, for his second try of the evening and capping a man-of-the-match performance, as everybody has waxed lyrical about him once again. 4 points to 26. So I'll take you to our play of the game, which is linked to our game breaker. The play of the game, there's no doubt about this. Tommy Makinson on the 14th of 18 carries, and again another huge work rate from the winger, somebody they rely on an awful lot. But the person I'm going to identify for you right at the top of this clip is Jackson Hastings, because he's the man who's going to become important as this play unfolds. Makinson finds an edge, finds a defender, gets around, beautiful break and support back on the inside from Percival. Miscommunication between these two, but look at Hastings. He's covered an awful lot of ground and hasn't given up on the play, and that's the sort of character that the Salford Red Devils are looking for and will build their season around for the rest of 2019. The game breaker was Regan Grace's try. It's an interesting one. A lot of teams look at this in defence. Scrums close to the line. St Helens put 2 players on the short side. You've almost got to mirror that because of the space that enables if you only had one of those players. If there's a player who comes over like this Junior Sal, they definitely go that short side. So they've held 2 players on the short side, and then it's about the width of the first pass, and then Johnny Lomax off the scrum. You look how Johnny Lomax skips to the outside on that pass, and that really does for Chris Wellham, who comes in. A misread from him. And if there's one area where the Salford Red Devils need to improve, and it was a defeat in which I think they emerged from credit, Brian, it's those defensive decision making on the edges. But all told, St Helens keep their 100% record.
Yeah, thanks very much, John. I think Chris Wellham on that right edge will have to recalibrate the sat-nav. OK, let's have a look at the table. St Helens go on top now, 2 points clear of Castleford and Warrington, who of course have games in hand. Salford, having played 5, stay in 4th spot on 6 points. OK, 4 from 4 for Justin Holbrook and St Helens. James Roby, man of the match. He will be odds on for 3 points in the Man of Steel voting. Is he the best hooker you've ever played with? Is he the best athlete you've ever played with? Is he the best lead-by-example man you've ever played with? What is it about James Roby, in your opinion, as a former teammate, that makes him so special, particularly referencing his efforts tonight?
Yeah, I think it's hard to answer that question in terms of athletic ability and all of those things, the skill of different players that you've played with. But there's one piece of play, and I know we said the game breaker, or we highlighted Jackson Hastings' effort on his chase back on a try. Well, that's right, but at 20 points to 4, you're winning. You're playing for St Helens. You've done 50 tackles.
It's a rainy night in Salford.
It's a rainy night in Salford. You don't need to follow up the break what Tommy Makinson makes. You do not need to do that. So why has he done it? And this is where James Roby is one of the best ever players that the game's seen. Is because mentally he does that every time. So Theo Farge picks the ball up. Now watch James Roby. Ben Thaler overtakes him. Bit embarrassing for James Roby. Not a big deal. But he's made 50 tackles. Like we said, all of those environmental conditions of the game. He has no right to be here now. And that's just one example. And you go through the game, and Phil will agree, there's 10 examples of that, or 15 examples. You could do a video review session after every game of all of his quality efforts.
I didn't want to pick him as man of the match because we've done it so many times.
Yeah. You think it's too obvious?
I was desperate to find another player. And in fact, I thought Morgan Knowles at half-time was fantastic. A player who's playing the position you played in. I thought, here's the future. He was great at running the ball, passing it, tackling, all those factors. But ultimately, when you look at what James Roby does again, you have to think he was the most influential player on the field.
I'll tell you who may have pushed him close, Tommy Makinson. And we were speaking about this off camera. His kick returns, and Ian Watson said we kicked it down the middle, gave him 2 options too many times. He challenges 3/4 at the very least of the defensive line, and compare that to maybe Jermaine McGilvery, who forces 2 or 3 tacklers into having to make a hard tackle.
Yeah, there's different sorts of wingers. The really big, robust wingers that'll come straight at you and maybe attract 2 or 3 defenders. Well, Tommy Makinson's different, but he's strong, he's fast, but he travels sideways and laterally. He waits for a chink in the line to appear, and when that chink in the line appears, he'll duck under, he'll play the ball quickly, but he holds your full defensive line to account. And that's not what's impressive. He had 20 carries tonight. He'll have gone for nearly 200 plus metres. He was flawless defensively, and actually I think he really pushed James Roby close. If James Roby hadn't scored his second try there, I was backing Tommy Makinson for man of the match.
OK, Phil, Salford have got to be very careful here. 3 from 4 coming into this match. They've lost this now. Their run-in is horrendous. And the next few games, I should say, Catalan away on Sky, Castleford away, Wigan at home, and Wakefield away. They've got to be careful that a great start to the season doesn't turn into a bit of a hole that they find themselves in 4 weeks' time.
Well, there might be patches throughout the season where they do find it a little bit difficult with injuries. I mean, don't forget tonight, they've lost 2 players. They had 2 decisions in the first half that went against them. I think they've got enough strength and character to hold it together.
Okay, all right. Here's what we've got coming up for you on Sky Sports. The final one-day international Windies England, 2:30 p.m. on Saturday at Sky Sports Cricket. England, of course, 2-1 up in that series. Okay, a reminder, tomorrow we're over at Leeds, first home game of the season. Chris Chester and Wakefield with Tom Johnson in tow. They come to town, 7 p.m. Sky Sports Arena, same channel, and Sky Sports Mix for Steve McNamara's Catalan Dragons game against the Warrington Wolves. Warrington unbeaten to start the season. That's on Saturday from the Betfred Super League, and from the Betfred Championship on Sunday you can see John Wilkins Toronto in action against Dewsbury. That one 3 p.m. again on Sky Sports Arena. Toronto Wolfpack player now, but smiling throughout that game. I think still a saint at heart. Phil, thanks very much for your company. John Wilkins, once again, thanks very much. We're delighted to have you here with us. We've witnessed St Helens continue this unbeaten start to the season. Salford, valiant effort in defeat. Well, they've got some difficult weeks ahead of them, but tonight belonged to the Saints. From the AJ Bell Stadium, good night.
Well, the Salford early season form really is facing the acid test here tonight. Farge under pressure gets the kick away. This is hanging everywhere. Oh, brilliantly claimed by Percival. Lomax. And Lomax gets over the line. He's going for it himself. Roby's touchdown. The ball's come free. Gerald Alford has plucked this ball out of the sky. Lomax, back it comes. Lachlan Coote, here they come with Regan Grace. Robbie! He hasn't scored on this ground before tonight. He's got two. And he's sealed the win for St Helens. They go top of the Betfred Super League table tonight.
Sky Sports Arena. Feel it all.
Wonderful play. Down he goes on tackle number 5. Richardson goes back the same way. Short pass, Percival for St Helens.
But I want to bring in Nathan for a comment, who snuck into the kitchen to make a brew, but actually put a bet on this match. Nathan, you're already on a losing streak. Did you really think that chasing your losses with another quick punt would somehow win your money back?